Hello and welcome to Noni, your morning chat show discussing the topics and opinions that affect us all. This morning, the issue of domestic violence. Why is it still happening today? And does your body image affect your self-esteem? We'll be hearing what you think with your comments. Joining me on today's show, Lola Ogunbadejo. She began her successful career in the world of entertainment and has interviewed some well-known African names, including D'banj and Banky W. But despite Lola's achievements, she feels that her body image and refusal to conform may have hindered her career. We'll be hearing about her personal experiences. And Fikelephi Jackson, herself a survivor of domestic violence. She now uses her experience, knowledge and determination to help women and children overcome the awful effects of abuse within the home. Now, the issue of domestic violence is still a taboo subject for many, but each year nearly 2 million people suffer some form of domestic abuse. It can be physical, mental, verbal or even financial that affects both women and men. But it doesn't always begin straight away in a relationship, and there can be a gradual build-up of abusive behaviour. Now, Fikelephi, I know you have a very successful book, Against All Odds, and you overcame. What exactly happened?
Wow, where do I start? Things happened to me at a very tender age. So I was very young and naive, and I was thinking, well, everybody had a boyfriend, and I started to feel like, oh my God, something maybe is wrong with me. You know, everybody has a boyfriend.
And you met your partner?
And I met the father of my children. And at a time, he was so many years older than me. I didn't have a clue. I didn't know him that much. Sadly for me, I fell pregnant like almost immediately. And with that, in my culture, as soon as you become pregnant, it's a big, serious thing. They call it damage. So it's more like...
Because you wasn't married?
No, I wasn't married.
So what led to the abuse then?
I didn't realize at a time that I wasn't the first person in his life. There was already another woman who had a child with him, and she was going through abuse with him, and she had left him. And I didn't know all this until later on. So it was when I was 8 months pregnant that the abuse started. Oh. Yeah, he started. Anything triggered it.
Physical abuse.
It was physical and emotional. So he used to say, oh, so many things. He used to say how ugly I was and just things, name calling.
Something that, of course, our statistics have said a lot of women are going through. Lola, fortunately, and I don't even want to say fortunately, but I have to, you haven't personally suffered from this, but you've counselled and you know many people that this has happened to.
I have two particular friends who were in abusive relationships. One was in an abusive marriage, the other in an abusive relationship, which eventually led to marriage. It was really sad. I would get phone calls of her crying, telling me this is what he has done. He's hit her, he's told her he can't go out, he's taken her cards. And I was just, you know, at that point, I'm not married myself and I've never been in an abusive relationship. So as much as I was trying to encourage her, I was also trying to understand why she was still there. But the thing that kept ringing in my head was love keeps no record of wrong. So even though I tried to understand her situation, from her point of view, I had to also let her know that I think this is a serious issue. You need to get some form of help. Eventually she did and she moved out. But it is really tragic because, like you said, it sometimes can be gradual. It doesn't happen immediately. But then I also believe in some instances, there will be some signs that you'll be able to look at and be like, okay, this is something that could potentially lead to another thing.
It's interesting you say that, because I would say, and I've never been a victim of domestic abuse, but I would say there has always got to be a sign, but the statistics don't back that up. You know, sometimes they, in fact, sometimes you can be a perfect partner and then all of a sudden, you know, these things start showing their ugly face. Was that similar in your case?
Oh my goodness, it's very similar. If you met the father of my children, he was very quiet, very reserved, very polite, extremely polite. Seeing my situation, my scars, and look at him, it was easy to say never, he wouldn't. But behind closed doors, Yes.
That's what he was doing.
It's a reality.
But Lola, why do so many people stay in these relationships? Because they do, don't they? You know, you've mentioned one of your friends here. What is it that doesn't keep them from leaving?
With both of my friends, I think one of them was married for over 15 years and the other one was in a relationship with the man for about, 6 years. And the thing that they kept saying to me was that they've invested so much time and energy into this relationship and they believe wholeheartedly that it will eventually work, that the guy will eventually change.
And the children as well.
In my case, it was my children. After my first child, he was 8 months old. I remember take him to the clinic where this staff nurse began to talk to me about contraceptives. First time I heard about contraceptives. So this staff nurse talked me through it and she said, well, if you are staying with this man and you're not married, you will get pregnant again. Is that what you want? I said, no. I want to go to school. She said, well, you have to take this daily. I took it back home. Honest as I was, I said, how was the clinic? And I told him, I said, oh, by the way, the staff nurse said I must take this. Oh my God. He was very upset. That night he beat me so badly. Oh. So he flushed all the contraceptives that I had. And at that same time, I conceived my daughter. And when she was 7 months, I conceived again with my third child. Oh. So there I was, I had these 3 children.
And it's a situation that you can't get out of.
It was my children. How can I leave my children?
Of course. I want to ask this question. It may seem stupid, Lola, but I think it does actually happen. Do you think you can ever strike your partner as a mistake?
That's really, really tricky. I personally don't believe you can just strike someone out of being an accident. I think that it's intent. There's some form of intent. I think it's there. It's in you somewhere. Whether it's been suppressed and it's finally come out, that is in you somewhere. Naturally, I don't think I could ever strike my partner. I would never expect him to strike me. And if he did, we would have to have a serious discussion about it. I'll be extremely worried.
There's someone watching out there, and maybe the partner said, oh, it was a mistake. I didn't mean to. Here's my word. Love does not hurt.
Love doesn't hurt.
Full stop.
There's never an excuse for violence, is there? And you can always walk away. But coming up, we will continue looking at the issue of domestic violence. Also, does the way you look affect your emotional well-being? We'll be talking about body image and self-esteem. See you after the break. Welcome back to Noni. Still to come on today's show. Body image and self-esteem. Can we learn to be confident in our own bodies, or is relying on the media ideal the only way we can judge what we should or shouldn't look like? But first, we return to the harrowing effects of domestic violence. It's estimated that in England and Wales, 7 women a month are killed at the hands of a current or former partner, and it can take up to 2.5 years for those deemed high risk to find the courage to seek help. Fikelephi, I've got to ask, because I know the viewers will be saying, how did you manage to leave your abusive partner?
Wow. So this continued, and at this time when I left, he was threatening, I'll kill you. He used to tell me, if you try and leave you, I will juju you, I'll find you, and I'll kill you. God. And you know what? I believed every word. But it wasn't until my mother finally experienced what I had been going through. And this time around, Mom was physically handled by the father of my children, literally slashed across the room in the presence of my children. That was the last straw for my family.
And you've never looked back since. I don't want to move on too swiftly, but it's such a heavy topic. There's so many areas to discuss. Lola, let me bring you in here. What about men? We don't talk about men enough, do we? And if we look at England and Wales, thank God they've got so many services and support systems for women, but do they have enough for men?
I don't think so. I mean, rightly said, it's not just men that are abusing. Women are also getting their fists out, and it's just seen as a taboo subject for men. How can a man, a man, be abused by a woman? And there's just this kind of sort of taboo-ish thing around it, and it's just unfortunate because there are a lot of men suffering, men who are deeply in love with their partners, their wives, and who will do anything for them, and their partners are, taking the mick and abusing them, hurting them, and also. So I think a lot more needs to be done, and I think men need to be encouraged to speak up about it as well. Because I saw one instance on the news where this man had been abused for about 7 years, and his partner, his girlfriend, would actually get knives and knife him and just scratch him and hit him and slap him and tell him to not eat and do all these terrible things, and you're thinking how? But yeah, a lot needs to be done for men, I believe.
Fikelephi, of course, because of your testimony, your survival story, you have been working within communities, and I'm sure you have experienced situations where men have been abused. Do you think there is enough help, or we need to do more help?
No, I'm actually a domestic violence advocate. I've worked with victim support. I'm fully trained for that through victim support. And I will never forget learning the statistics that 1 in 6 men in this country go through domestic violence. Yeah, through the work I do, I've only met one man who was going through it, and of course now I know that there's way to get help. He was able to come out of it. Thankfully, they were not married yet, and he was able to come out. Yeah, so I think support from the family, for me, it was through my family who supported me.
The statistics are so high, but then within the African community, we're not really hearing much. You hear it more from the older generation, but, young marriages, young couples, clearly something must be going on if these statistics are to be true, but we're not hearing much about it.
Yeah, I think in some cases, some people have perhaps decided to. It just depends on who you're speaking to. Some people have decided to speak to a particular set of people who are not quite helpful, so maybe that's why they're not actually getting the word out. They're not actually
family members, for
exactly.
example.
Some family members, some very traditional family members might say, do you know what, just pray about it, or just try and deal with it. Every marriage goes through a particular situation, etc., etc. So you're getting some people who are getting even more afraid to actually speak their truth and let people know what really is going on. And then also there's this thing that if you do tell some people go and just spread your business and broadcast it and mock you. So you're kind of in a catch-22 situation. But the reality is, if something like that is happening in your house, you need to speak to someone who you can trust, or get counselling, or even speak to the police before it turns into a situation that can't be rewinded.
Well, it can turn to murder, can't it?
Exactly.
But Fikelephi, why do some women or men feel like if their partner abuses them, they love them? It's very strange, but then can you understand that psychology?
You know what? There is a thing about the abusers, or rather the people who do these things. I know it's about power and control. When most of them, at least of cases I know, when they are good, they are so good that the other partner thinks, wow. And it's a toxic relationship. And I speak to anyone out there who's stuck in that, he's always nice sometimes. When he's nice. Baby, he's gonna kill you, or she's gonna kill you. Get out while you can. Because the woman after me was, in her case, he loves me, I love him. But she died. She didn't survive it.
Oh my gosh.
He broke this of her in between the eyes and that. It's only when she died that people thought, oh my God, this could have been Fikelephi. So anyone out there who's watching, if you're going through it, love does not hurt.
I think that's a really strong message to end on. Love doesn't hurt. Yeah. If you've been affected by anything that we've spoken about, please do contact your local services for more support. Now, is there such thing as the perfect body? Flick through the pages of a fashion magazine or scroll online and you could be led to believe that being stick thin or having a large derriere or super long legs are the requirements of perfection. Well, it's estimated that a whopping 91% of us women are unhappy with our bodies. But what is perfect? We all come in a wonderful array of shapes and sizes, so shouldn't we just have the confidence to embrace how we look? And does the media really have a part to play? Lola, I know this is a big topic for you. You've spoken really openly about it. Tell us your opinions on body image and self-esteem in the media.
Well, I'll just start off with this situation that happened when I was much younger. I remember watching a documentary about Brandy, and I think there was a role she was applying for.
Brandy, okay, the singer from Moesha.
Yeah, from Moesha. There was something she was applying for, and then I believe her drama teacher told her, Brandy, you didn't get this role because you're not cute enough. And then the drama teacher was saying something like, you know, Brandy was obviously upset. And that's when it really dawned on me, okay, so she didn't get it because she's not cute enough? What does that mean? I think she's beautiful.
She is.
She is, yeah, exactly. And so from that age, I kind of realized that, wow, there's this sort of perception of what the media deems as beautiful. And as I was growing up through secondary school, I had my situations where I was bullied, mostly because of my complexion. I was called all sorts, ash, soot, blick, which is a word used to say you're blacker than black. And so already I entered into college believing that my skin is horrible, ugly, and then right through to university, eventually my confidence grew, and then I somehow managed to become a presenter. And I just also remember somebody saying to me that, oh, okay, thank you so much for proving that black girls can present. And I was like, okay, thank you. And then they compared me to one of my peers who was light-skinned. And I said that we're both black, because I think they were trying to argue with me.
Shadeism is another thing.
Exactly. Colorism, there's just so many things. So, but that's just a whole other topic. But with the media, yes, we're always being given these iconic representations of beauty. You must
What is that? What is that? What would you define as the media's iconic image of beauty for a black woman?
For a black woman,
describe her.
Lighter skin tone, long hair, long straight hair, a particular kind of figure. She has to have a good figure. She can't be like apple shaped. It's sort of like maybe
small waist, big bum, huge boobs.
Or maybe she should just be slim. You know, she doesn't have to have the big, you know, things, but she has to be slim, and she has to be extremely attractive and likable, and a person who people want to be like, essentially. And I found that from my career, like, luckily I have confidence now, but if I was entering the industry now at this particular moment in time, I think I would be really, really insecure, or really, yeah.
Fikelephi, I've got to bring you in. I can see you shaking.
I know.
Why does this make you so angry?
For me, I think the beauty is within. It's all about identity. Know who you are and love yourself. Of course, when I came out of the abuse and all the tragedies that I went through, my confidence, my self-esteem was zilch. If not, I don't know if there's anything beyond zero. But as I went through the healing process, as I began to look in the mirror again, I never used to like to look at myself in the mirror, because I had believed that what was in front of me, you are ugly, you will never amount to anything. So each time I looked at the mirror. But I think as I went through the healing process, I began to love myself.
But see, that's a really, it's a poignant message and it's strong. But Lola, it's hard for these young girls at the moment to have this inner self-esteem when there's so much pressure.
It is quite worrying, because I do see a lot of young women kind of falling into this trap of believing they have to look and be a particular way. They have to have this certain type of personality. They have to have this certain type of hair or this certain type of dressing to be able to be seen as someone important and someone loved. And it's so stressful for me, because what I've been through, from my experience in my career, is what I've had all kinds of things said to me about the way I've looked.
I'm really surprised about that, Lola, because I followed your career, and I know a lot of viewers would have, and you're so successful, you know, especially within our community. You've interviewed all of the big names, and I think people would be really, really shocked to hear that you think you haven't had jobs because of the way you look?
I think the industry, people need to, I love what I do and I love the industry, but sometimes it can be fickle and we need to face reality.
Yeah.
Like right now, I understand the narrative is that dark skin is in, it's a trend now, but being a trend, it can easily come out of fashion. You know, what's going to happen when people now don't see dark skin as beautiful? And
all big bums. What are we going to do with all those Brazilian butt lifts?
Exactly.
You can't get rid of them that easy. But Fikelephi, you know, you girls, we all look quite nice today, I would like to think. We look quite lovely. But shouldn't we celebrate our looks? And if we want to, you know, if you want to nip, if you want to tuck, if you want to tighten, shouldn't you be able to do that? And is it not the media, it's just the way you want to feel good for yourself?
I think it goes back. I want to speak to that viewer that feels less or that feels they want to impress whoever. Whether you are a man or woman, you are enough. You know what? You are an original. There is no one else who is you. And that should be just like incredible.
But why is that message is not enough for young girls today? Why is it not translating through to the youth?
I think most of it is to do with the social media and how things are handled. But I still speak to that viewer that you are enough. Just look on the inside, love yourself, and you know, just know that there isn't anyone who's like you. I am proudly African. I can never wish to lose weight and become a size. I want to be healthy. I'm happy to be a size 14, 16, because you know what? The person inside has got to be happy. And if you are not, then deal with whatever is a situation in there.
Fikelephi, I think we need to be hearing from you every morning. Guys, it's so great talking to both of you. That's it from me, Juliana Olayinka, and my co-host for the morning, Lola Ogunbadejo and Fikelephi Jackson. Don't forget, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Join me tomorrow morning for more Noni Chat. Goodbye.